Good day, thinkers, thought leaders, progressives, and dreamers. I'm Craig the Writer Stewart, and this is So Much to Say. These are my thoughts in my voice on black shit, white shit, gay shit, and everything in between. Today, I am having a conversation with a friend of mine, Octavius Terry, and this conversation is about forgiveness and maturity. Octavius and I have been friends for many years, probably going all the way back to 1998. He's one of the first people that I met when I moved to Atlanta after graduating from Hampton University, and we had similar interests. He is a singer, I am a songwriter, and we both had aspirations of making it into the music industry at one point in our careers. Fast forward many years later, there was a fallout or misunderstanding. He reached out because I can be so unforgiving. We sat down for dinner and hashed it all out, and I thought it would be a great idea for us to sit down again over a podcast and really talk about how we came back together to redefine and rebuild our friendship. So listen, do me a favor and hit the share button, because I'm certain that there is someone, maybe even you, who needs to hear this conversation. So sit back, hit the share button, listen, and enjoy. This is very personal work for me.
Politics.
I believe I was called to tell my story, use my voice, be a voice for the community, to speak to and for a community of people that's been ignored, denied, overlooked.
Religion.
This is my life's work.
Religion.
I want to use words to uplift, heal, inspire, encourage.
Do something different. Every Monday at 10.
Again, this is my first podcast.
Yes, it is your first podcast. So I'm taking his podcast virginity.
Yes.
Let's just start from the very beginning.
Yes.
Like how we met. Do you remember how we met?
Gosh.
Oh, not necessarily
Well, first of all,
how we met.
how many years has this been?
That's what I'm trying to figure out if you know.
Okay.
Now, I'm clear.
Okay. I know it's 20. Is it 20? No.
Yeah, it is like
Yeah, it's
20 because
20.
we met. I moved here in 98. I moved to Atlanta in 98.
Oh, yeah.
And we met because we had mutual friends. Our friend that used to work at the Kenneth Cole store.
Yes.
And I used to run into you at like barbecues at his house.
Yeah.
And
in 98?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, because I wasn't out then.
But you had a boyfriend.
Out. Yeah. I was.
We ain't gonna say his name.
I always had. Oh, yeah.
You had a boyfriend. He wasn't out, but he had a boyfriend.
I did. That was funny.
Yeah, you had a boyfriend.
Yeah.
But it had to have been like 90. Well, let me go back. Maybe it was like 99. It could have been 99.
Because I got out of college in 96. Yeah.
Because the way that I met the friend that worked at Kenneth Cole, one day I was in Kenneth Cole and I was trying on some shoes, and he was like, and it was some sandals, and he was like, "Oh, you got some nice feet," and that was how we started talking.
Okay.
And then he was very generous with his Kenneth Cole discount. And he was like, whenever you want shoes, just let me know, and I'll get you 50% off. But I found out later that he was, giving more discounts than he should have. But so that was how we met. We met over at his house at a barbecue, and then we would see each other out socially and that kind of thing.
Right.
And then we would see each other at house parties and things like that. I remember specific house parties. But then I ended up doing my play.
Yes. No, that was before that. It was before that because you were doing the card. You were doing cards first.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was. Yeah. Well, I was writing
the play.
getting
ready to start releasing the cards because we started doing collaborations.
Exactly.
I was singing and playing guitar at the time.
Did you want to give him a little?
No.
You don't want to give him a little tune or nothing?
It's been so long.
Yeah. Oh my God. So, in fact, I had done my play the very first time. It was at 14th Street Playhouse, but I don't think you came to that one.
Oh, maybe.
But the first one was at.
Okay.
Yeah, you came to the one in 2007. I remember that one.
It was that long.
Yeah.
So you was before that.
Yeah, it was a big gap in between. But and so after I did this show the very first time, I started focusing on Say It in the Card, the greeting cards, because I didn't really know. Yeah, I didn't really remember. I didn't really know what to do with the business or the play after it had sold out.
Which
that
was
first
great.
time.
Like, are you still doing that?
The play?
No, the cards.
I do still have. That's what's all over there
Okay.
on that table. Now I haven't really been pushing it and promoting it as much as I need to.
Yeah.
Because I've been so focused on these
Okay.
books and.
Because it was so
touring with
inspiring, like to know that you had. I mean, you literally had like cards and
Yeah.
you had like real words to say.
Right,
which is
right.
great, yeah.
And so, I mean, I would love to have those cards
Okay.
in stores and stuff again. But again, it takes an army
lot, yeah.
to do that. And like right now, I'm the machine, and I'm pushing these books and this podcast and all of that. So maybe at some point we'll be able to ramp that back up.
Okay.
So I started focusing on the greeting cards
Okay.
once I didn't know what to do with the play after it had sold out that first time, and so
Right.
that's when you and I started doing stuff together.
Yeah.
I remember.
Do you remember everything that we did together? Like some of the stuff? Like you were very innovative with what you were doing, right?
Uh-huh.
Do you remember that time that you had created this thing where you called me and then you would have a private chef and they would do. You remember that? I thought that was genius. Well, he did this thing where you would have a date at your own house and you would have a chef there and you brought me in there to serenade these two people sitting at a dinner table.
Yes, I remember that.
Oh my gosh! Yes.
But I also remember. I remember when I was dating, and we were at the Metropolis. I invited you over to the Metropolis.
Okay.
He was
okay.
at work.
Okay.
And you were really into your music thing at the time, and you wanted me to hear some stuff that you were doing.
Uh-huh.
And I sang
Oh,
to
I
you
remember
a
that,
song
yeah.
called "Once Upon a Time in My Life." I didn't think love was true, but it was called "I'm Glad I Found You."
Okay.
And so, anyway, so I sang that song to you, and so we had talked about doing stuff together, but we never did because you
Right.
were really into your music thing. He said, "Well,
So-
right now I'm writing my own
I'm
stuff."
switching
Like he didn't want anybody to write. He
God.
didn't want me to write for him. He was like, "I'm writing my own stuff right now." You were playing the guitar. That private dinner that you're talking about,
Right.
it came through Say It in a Card, through my greeting card
Right,
business.
right.
It was an NBA player, a guy named
Yes.
Darius Miles. Darius
Yeah, I
Miles.
remember that.
I had done a personalized card for him for his then fiance at the time.
Yeah.
And she fell in love. So I invited you, my friend Sherry and I got
Yeah.
together, invited you to the dinner.
To the dinner.
He played an original
The
song.
proposal. Yeah. God.
She fell in love. She read the card that I had written. She cried. She was like, "Oh my God, I want to do this for my wedding." And so she ended up hiring me to write personalized greeting cards
Right.
from herself to Brandy Norwood, who was one of her friends, Keisha Knight Pulliam, and it was like 4 other girls. And Octavius was at that dinner, and she turned to him and said, "I want you to come to my wedding too. I want you to sing."
Yeah.
So then he came and
That
he
was
sang
great. Yeah, that
at
was
the
fun,
wedding.
yeah.
And then I would do these greeting card parties, and
Yeah.
that's when Keisha Klein had City Living,
Yeah.
the furniture store.
Oh yeah.
And we had a greeting card party
bringing
there.
back memories, yeah.
Brought Octavius in. He performed. He sold his music, and it was catered and just all of that stuff, right? And so we became really cool friends. Like we
Yeah.
didn't talk every day,
No, yeah.
and we didn't hang out all of the time. But then I remember when I was contemplating moving to LA. I was in LA and I posted like a picture or something on Facebook, and you must have seen it because you hit me on text or you called me or something.
Well, first of all, people have to find out the reason why I went to LA actually because I was born and raised here in Atlanta and I had never lived anywhere else. Mm-hmm. And then got smitten by now my husband Jamal Sims in California.
And I remember when you were talking to him and y'all dated long distance for like a year,
for
right?
a year, yeah.
Right.
I never really been to California. And then I fell in love with it. And
him.
Yeah, in him. And I went away and never came back after 12
You sure
know,
didn't?
Yeah.
He said y'all can have it because at the time I don't know when you, but when I met Octavius, he was working for Wachovia.
That was a whole different life. It
That was
my,
before Wachovia
was-
became Wells Fargo.
Yeah, it was my all inauthentic life. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And like you were saying earlier, because you're from here, you weren't really out.
Right.
You weren't really exploring your creativity, your creative side either. Like you had started getting into the singing part, but you're now designing clothes.
I'm not that person I was 12 years ago.
Right.
By no means. Right. I went on to get married in front of 30 million people.
At the Grammys. What year was that?
2014.
And didn't Queen Latifah?
She officiated and
right.
Madonna sang, and it was Macklemore.
Right.
And
that was the year everybody was going on about Macklemore got too many awards for hip hop or something.
Yeah. Well, that was Well, actually, that was a year after because he did that poignant song, "Same Love."
Same Love, right?
And we were fortunate enough and honored enough to get married to that
Right.
Grammy performance. And then
Okay.
kind of the rest was history after that. And then my life just took a whole different turn where at the time I was in design school because like I said, my inauthentic self became authentic after I met my husband because after you get married in front of 30 million people to another guy, then it's like no turning back.
So let me ask you this. So
Yeah.
when you got married, were you not still living your full self? Were
No,
you,
just
you
with
weren't?
family and close
Just with
friends.
family and
Yeah,
friends,
yeah. I
okay.
mean, I think most people thought that he and I were either related or brothers, and we never did like PDAs
Or
because
roommates.
Yeah, because you just don't, as African American, you just don't have a lot of PDAs in public.
Uh-huh.
I mean, to the point that when we went to the Grammys, we were not like hugging and kissing on each other like all the other 31 couples,
Mm-hmm.
and it was the first time in my life that I was trying to argue people down, like, no, we're really gay, and no, we're really,
Really?
it's like one of those
Because you
things
had done such a good job
of doing masking it. Like we
Masking
were
it,
just
yeah.
like we were asking questions like, okay, so when we actually get married, we're gonna kiss? Like how we gonna
At the Grammys.
Yeah, what do we do?
So did y'all kiss? Because
we did. And then that kind of freed my life. And I think Oprah said it best: is like when you become your authentic self, that everything else just kind of the power law of attraction started happening, which became this thing for both of us. I was able to create a company that was surrounded by concentrating on not only guys who were getting married to guys and that kind of thing, but created my own niche by just being my authentic self. And I started a company called Groom, and my husband's already a well-respected choreographer and director in his own right. And then all of a sudden, and then like I said, we had this conversation. I wasn't really. I was kind of into social media and that kind of thing, but after that, and we vowed that once we did it such a public way, that we would never retreat. We had other musicians and other people who came out as either bi or gay, and
Really?
men of color, women of color that kind of retreated after that. We were like, no, we'll always be public.
Right.
And then after that, we just social media became a thing for us as far as like how we got sales and inspiring like a younger group of men and women to kind of be authentic and to help them realize that gay, straight, or whatever, being gay is not a hindrance to your family dynamic, your economic dynamic, and we let this mantra of being bold, authentic, and inspiring, and then it just kind of went to a whole different place. Yeah.
But to your point, I will definitely echo what you said, because for me, and I've said this to them before, my career as a writer,
Right.
as an author in particular, didn't really start to. I wasn't afforded the luxury of living off of the proceeds or the profits from these
Right.
book sales until I really started living fully.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I've been out, and I say this, I believe, in the second book, like. Just because
Come
you
on, second book?
Yes. Just because you go to gay pride events, just
Right.
because you go to gay parties, just
Right.
because you move in gay circles, doesn't mean you live your truth. Doesn't mean
Yeah.
you're living your full self. And so I was only giving the people a portion of me.
Right,
Like
right.
I wouldn't let them really see the full Craig. Like,
Yeah.
if that was something that I kept telling myself, well, that's personal. That's for
Yeah.
my friends and people who really know me. But I wasn't really living my full self. And so it wasn't until I started this podcast and really got on here and started giving my real views and allowing people to see and hear all aspects of my personality, did things really start to take off. Because I
Yeah.
think the universe responds to authenticity.
Authenticity, yeah. And I think it's just our own built-in fear, especially as
Yeah.
African American men and being in the South and that kind of thing. But I think it was the best freedom that could have ever happened to me because I've worked with the some of the straightest guys, the epitome of what straight is, like The Game and Ray J, and because I'm my authentic self, they respected me so much, and it
Absolutely.
was something that I could have never dreamed of.
Yeah.
If I was somebody that was hiding my sexuality, these guys, I think they would be even more uncomfortable.
Exactly.
But because
it's like this unspoken thing in the room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so now, my fears were my own self fears because these guys are like, hey, what are you doing? That kind of thing. And they want me around. And I thought it was going to be totally the opposite, that they would be afraid of me being around.
Right.
But me being authentic has opened so many doors that have not even been about being gay.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's just kind of fun to not have to hide that. Like sometimes
It's so taxing trying to hide.
let me tell you. Okay, well, this is the thing. Like, I think there's some residual around that. 'Cause my husband and I have been together for 12 years, married for 4. But he cracks up about this. Like when he drops me off at the airport, like I still have this thing like, do I kiss him?
Should I kiss him when I get out of the car?
That, or if we're at a restaurant.
Do you do that still?
I know, but it's just residual, and I know I shouldn't. But
So wait,
just,
what is it that you do? Like you go to...
like we think about it, like I shouldn't have to think about it.
So he's ready to go in for the kiss,
Like
and you kind of looking
well,
like...
we both are, but
Really?
then we're just like, it's this dance. Like,
So you mean to
come
tell me
on
you're
now.
in your car and you worrying about whether or not...
when we get out the car.
When you get out of the car.
Yeah. So it's still, like I said, it's just a little residual that you still have to deal with because, for so many years you kind of held this in. But the other thing is about it, like, we laugh because if we're at a restaurant and we're talking and then we bring up somebody, I would often do this thing where, I think he's gay. And I would whisper.
You would whisper that part, right?
Like, why am I whispering this part? And we crack up about it.
Right.
But I think some things you just have to keep changing because I had to think that we only got married publicly, which I call my coming out party when I was actually 42 years old. So
That's how old I am now.
yeah, so that was my coming out. So I really feel like my life only started at that time. I think that's why I keep a youthful edge because I'm excited about the person that I've become and know that there's so many more chapters to write as my authentic self. So that's kind of where I'm
And
at
then there's
now.
something to be said about once you cross over 40,
Yeah.
you care less and less and less about what people think.
Yeah.
I think
true, yeah.
I think as a human, you always kind of are concerned about
Yeah.
what people think, but
Yeah.
that degree
Yeah.
to which you care,
Yeah.
it just starts to attenuate.
Right.
So what was the last thing that we said? So I'm in California. I'm
Right,
visiting.
right.
So you're living in California. I'm visiting, and I must have posted a picture of myself somewhere in California. I did a post or something. I don't know what it was,
Right.
but you saw it. We were Facebook friends, and I noticed today because I was going to tag you. We're no longer Facebook friends.
Oh gosh.
I guess that's
We'll get to that
I guess
story.
that's the residual of why we're here.
Yeah.
That's a part of why we're here. We didn't
Right,
discuss
right,
it.
right.
So you must have unfriended me.
I
Because
can't remember.
I didn't know. Oh, you didn't. You don't.
I
remember?
must have.
You must
I
have
don't
unfriended me
know.
because I don't unfriend people.
We'll have to get to that story.
So
yeah.
anyway, so we're
Oh,
building.
gosh,
We're
yeah.
building people.
Yeah.
So I was in California. He doing that little nervous shake on the table now.
Well, that just says something like, I need to get back on Facebook, but it's not my fault.
Right. So we're in California. I did a post. He's living there at this point. And you must have called me or texted me. You're like, wait a minute, you in my city and I didn't know you were here. And so I was just like, yes, I'm in Atlanta. You said, I'm in LA. You were like, where you staying? Come to find out I was staying like 5 minutes from you. You said,
Okay.
I'm coming to pick you up.
I sure did. See what I mean? See, that's what I do.
So he jumped in the truck, came and picked me up. You were in the car with 2 other guys, one of which was Ben the writer, who
He's
is
in Atlanta now.
He's in Atlanta now.
What's up, Ben?
Yes, and
Doing really, really well.
He's doing
Morehouse
really well.
grad.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
a Morehouse grad, and you were telling him that I was a writer also, and I had sold out this play in Atlanta, and it was so good. And you were telling him how I had written for Brandy, and at the time Ben was just climbing still. He was
Yes,
still climbing.
yes.
And so, but now Ben is one of the writers on Insecure. He's not there now because he's
Insecure.
doing...
Well, he's the co-creator and executive producer of the revamp of Boomerang here in Atlanta.
Right.
Yeah.
So you guys may not notice, but they're revamping Boomerang.
Yes.
You remember the original movie? So Ben, the writer, the guy that we're talking about, is executive producer on that. You said
Executive producer and co-creator with Lena Waithe.
With Lena Waithe.
Yeah.
Now you know I love Lena Waithe.
Love Lena.
She's the creator of The Shy and a bunch of other stuff.
Yes.
So
First African American woman to win an Emmy for comedy writing.
yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
So she's a part of the LGBTQ community.
Yes.
FYI.
Yes.
So because I do believe we are the most gifted and talented
We
people
are
alive.
absolutely
Black,
no question.
white, gay, Asian. I mean, black, white, Asian, whatever. If you're gay, you probably got some talent. But anyway, so at the time, Ben was just trying to bubble up and do his thing. And so you came and picked me up. He was in the car, and Tony was in the car. And so we hung out. We went to lunch, and we hung out. We went to a house party that night. And so you were telling
good
me.
memory.
I have a very good memory. And you were like,
kind of, sort of. We'll get to that. I'm just kidding. No, we'll get to that.
I have an amazing memory,
Okay.
Octavius. So you were just like, listen, Craig, I just think you should move to LA because I was telling you I was thinking
Yes.
I was cogitating the move, and you were like, I think you should do it. You know, you look at all of the stuff that you've done so far. I think if you move to LA, it's going to take you to another level. Like you can't even imagine what you're going to write because you were saying that you were just doing music at the time, and you said, but now I'm doing fashion. Like you were just getting into that.
Yeah.
So I was like, I think I'm going to take the leap. I think I'm going to move and da. And so you were like, we were talking about how LA doesn't really have a sense of community in terms of the LGBTQ Black gay community, like you do have
Yes.
in Atlanta.
Yes.
I
At the
remember,
time,
at the time. And so you were just saying how you were always trying to tell Jamal, your husband, and your other friends that you want to bring that to LA. And so you were like, you come to LA, you have us here, and just da-da-da. And I'm like, well, I think I'm going to move. Fast forward, I moved to LA, and I ended up writing a book. So like you said, it did become this thing where I never had intentions of writing a book. Like that was just one of the things that I never even conceived would happen.
Yeah.
And so I ended up writing this book. We didn't really hang out much in LA. Because we just lived two different lives. For one, we lived in different parts of town, and you were in design school.
Yeah, I was in design school.
Well, you weren't married yet.
No.
I moved in 2011.
Yeah,
you've been married 4 years now, right?
Almost 5 now.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so you weren't married in 2011 when I moved to LA, but we just lived different lives. So long story short, I'm back in Atlanta. I'm back on the East Coast. Promoting my first book, Words Never Spoken. Let me go and do that shameless plug. So I'm promoting my first book, and I don't remember what year this was. I don't remember the year that this was. I want to venture to say that it must have been 2014 per the text message that I sent you, which we're coming to. So it must have been.
It was 2014 because I looked at the text message. Yes.
You looked at the text message the night we went to dinner.
Yeah.
We're coming to that as well. Hold on.
Yeah, it was Christmas Day, 2014.
Okay.
Yeah, and I got married in January of 2014. So this is a full 10, 11 months after all this craziness with my life had just happened. And
right.
now it's Christmas. This is the day. It's Christmas Day. Yeah.
We're not there yet. Hold on.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
You trying to get me to go?
No. I'm just saying. I know. That's remember because I was just looking at the text. Yeah.
So I know, right?
Yeah.
So I'm back in Atlanta. I'm doing a signing at this place called Einstein's, which is one of the places, and it had to have been like a Pride. It was either a Pride weekend or one of those holiday weekends where the gays flock to Atlanta.
Well, my best friend said that, and she's a straight woman here in Atlanta. She said any 3-day weekend.
Correct. The gays are
so
listen.
It was one of the 3-day weekends.
It was. They come by planes, trains, automobiles, and parachutes.
Yes.
So and they descend on the city.
Yeah.
So you were in, and I was doing a signing at Einstein's.
Okay.
And your husband, and a former friend of mine, or somebody that we both know mutually, who's in the first book, briefly, came up to the table where I was. Now I strategically had the signing at this place because I knew the gays would be there, and it was a trap market. I knew I would be able to sell some books. So you guys came over to the table to say hello and da da da, and you said, "Oh, so you have a book?" And I remember you picked up the book. And I remember, no, you just said 5 minutes ago that I have a very good memory.
I know.
You picked up the book.
Kind of.
So this is where I don't really have a good memory.
This is where the story gets a little convoluted.
This is where it gets a little convoluted.
Yeah.
So you picked up the first book and said, "Oh, you have a book?" And I said, "Yeah, I do." And I said, "Y'all gonna support the book?" So it's him, his husband, and a former friend of mine, like I said.
And that was just by happenstance. We just walked.
It was just right. It was by happenstance. They didn't know I was doing a signing there. They just happened to come there, like I said, because I strategically placed myself there because I knew the gays would be there, and they showed up.
Right.
And so I was just like, okay. And I was like, yes, I have a book. You guys want to support the book? So my former friend, who's in the first book, he just kind of gave this little dumb grin, and then you said, oh, okay. Well, how much is the book? And I said, it's $20. And you says, oh, okay. You said, oh, okay. You set the book down. You said, okay, we'll be back.
Right.
You guys turned around, walked away. I never saw them again.
Yeah.
Okay. I felt a little something at that moment, but I didn't really let it bother me because I did understand in that moment that it was a festive moment. We were at the bar. You know, you guys were at the bar drinking. It was a bunch of people. Well, I don't know. You guys weren't drinking at that moment. But.
And then in my defense, again, you have to realize that I guess what we had done, we didn't know how historical that it had been or how many people actually saw it. But we crossed that thing as far as like being two African American men getting married in front of 30 million people. So this was kind of our first big outing at a holiday like that.
Right.
And we didn't know. to what degree it had affected other people. And a lot of that was when we probably got shuffled away into some other things that were happening there. Because like I said, we were very much into like meeting everybody that actually support us through the whole thing. So a lot of that was like our first Pride after we had done this monumental thing. And it was cool for us to get around. So probably one of those things was like we probably just totally forgot about it by the time we got to the end of the side.
Right.
So that's all that
And
was.
then also too, like I was saying, I didn't expect you all to carry this book around, like,
Right,
like
no,
you know
I'm
what I
saying,
mean.
yeah.
So I was thinking in that way too. So then fast forward,
Hey, Jamal, my husband's out there somewhere.
I was gonna say, you see him?
No, he's out there somewhere.
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't know how much time had elapsed from that point to the time that I saw you at Juan and G's house, and I'm specifically saying names because just for the purpose of keeping the story clear.
Yeah.
We were at Juan and G's house, and
Was it after that or before?
it was after that.
Okay.
And I don't know how much time had passed.
Right.
But it was after that. I remember they had a little gathering at their house.
Well, no, for a fact, it was because it was at a pool.
It was at a pool.
It was a summer party. Yeah.
They had a pool at this place. Caleb and Cordell were there.
Yeah.
Those of you who are listening, Caleb and Cordell were the couple that went viral from that picture.
Yeah, with the
where
family.
Family, and they were doing their children's hair in the mirror.
Right.
That picture went viral. So they were there.
Yeah.
You and Jamal were there. Juan and G were there.
Yeah.
I was there with friends, you know,
Yeah.
and that kind of thing. So it was other people there as well. And I remember you and Jamal came in, and I remember Juan and G were interviewing you guys about your relationship.
Yeah, because that was our first time kind of, actually meeting them in person because we had followed them, inspired by the work that they did, and also Cordell and Caleb as well. So there was a sense of camaraderie with us being either engaged or being married. Because Juan and G actually got, even though we got married publicly, they got married before us.
Right.
Before it was even a thing. So, you know, I applaud them for that. So it was kind of at that moment. But then again, I think that for us, coming to that, there was no resolve from where we went. I didn't know until we just. Well, I'll let you talk about it.
And that's the purpose of doing this conversation,
Okay.
because I think that sometimes people feel a certain kind of way, and I'm waving my hand because
Okay.
I felt a certain kind of way, but I didn't really fully articulate that to you. And at this point in my life, I'm really clear about where my shit begins and ends.
Okay.
But I'm also clear that it's unfair to hold someone responsible if you don't tell them, if you don't give them the opportunity to.
I think that's the message for tonight.
Yeah.
Yes. it's definitely the
So
message
that's
for
why I wanted to do this.
No, you're right.
And so and we'll come back to this, but
Yeah.
I thought it was really, really big of you to reach out to me because I'm a shady motherfucker when I want to be.
Who you telling?
And so I understood what it took for you to reach out to me. You understand what I'm saying? Because I've had instances where I've been the bigger person. I won't
Right.
say that I was the bigger person here, but I've had instances where I was the bigger person, and I understand what it takes to push your ego, your humility, your pride, all of that to the side.
Yeah.
To,
and I think,
to do that.
and what I would say about that is just to kind of echo that message is that you really can't let people hold like free rent in your head. And I learned that from Oprah. It's a lot of Oprah-isms right now that I'm talking about because this is really the Oprah whoopee moment that they had. But that's what I'm
Oprah
feeling.
Iyanla.
Oh, yeah, that too. But Oprah said, you can't let people have free rent in your head because if you hadn't really had a conversation with them about what their perception is, she had a moment where she was mad with someone and she was like, how can they be over there laughing when they know like I'm mad at them about that? But somebody like that, or even myself, I don't know what is happening or what happened. I just know that there's a...
Well, Octavius, you
There's
didn't
a
really
thing.
occupy any space in my head.
No,
because you had unfriended me on Facebook, so I didn't really see you.
Yeah. But what I'm saying
Well,
is
no, I know
not
what
that
you're
you
saying.
did, but just like if you don't articulate what
Right.
it is, because years can go by and you just
Right.
like, I don't know why we not.
Kind of like Jada and Gabrielle Union on the Red Table Talk.
Yeah.
And that
You
was
don't know what you-
that was what really inspired me. You know what I'm saying?
You don't know what you did to somebody and all that kind of stuff, but you like, because like I said, whatever I did, everybody grows. Everybody, if you're not growing,
You're dead.
Yeah. And so, like I said, I'm not even the same person that I was at 30.
Right.
I'm not the same person I was at 20.
Right.
I'll be 46 next week.
Oh, your
Like I
birthday's
said, next week, 1 week from today. and I'm closer to 50, and so like I'm like I can't wait to be 50. But in
Right.
that time, it's like no time for like while all the stuff is going on and stuff like that. You really never know what either yourself or the person
Right.
that you're with. Because I've had a lot of friends pass away from just craziness just recently. But you just never know.
Right.
Life is too short.
Life is too
for
short.
any kind of grudge. So I just didn't know what it was, and so that's why I was like,
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So just so they can follow, because we know the story, they don't know the
Yeah.
story. So we're at this this gathering at Juan and G's house,
Yeah.
and this was you and Jamal's first time meeting them, as
Yeah.
well as Caleb and
Yeah.
Cordell, and I'm there, and so I'm observing. I'm a writer. I pay attention.
Yeah.
I'm noticing things, and I remember hearing a conversation in the kitchen, and if I'm not mistaken, it was Caleb, whom you guys met on the Single Gay Father podcast that I did. I remember Caleb saying, well, we all should get together, and we
Yeah.
should do lunch, and you all were talking about doing like this triple date, like this lunch kind of thing, and kind of like breaking up the internet, with another like picture of like relationship goals.
I
And
don't remember that.
right.
So
and
funny.
so I remember this, and I'm just like, okay, that's interesting. And so fast forward, I don't know again how much time had elapsed from that point, but I remember being on Instagram, and I came across your Instagram, and this was after the Grammys.
Yeah, it was after.
This was after the Grammys.
Yeah.
So at this point, you had thousands and thousands of followers. And I remember seeing on your Instagram, and you had a picture of Caleb's then boyfriend's book.
We had recreated their book.
You have recreated their book.
I remember that.
And I remember loosely the caption said something like, "What's up, everybody? Support the homies book." And it was something like, bottom line is you were encouraging your followers to go and get this guy's
right.
book.
I remember that.
So at that moment, I was livid. I'm like, man, this motherfucker, he had promoted this Negro's book. He doesn't really know him. I did not know at the time that day was the first time you met them, but I did know in my spirit that you didn't have the kind of friendship or connection that you and I had. And I took it personally, and I felt like, now how dare he promote this Negro's book? And my mind instantly went back to that day in Einstein's when you were like, oh, okay, we'll be back. And then to the table, and you never came back. And I took it personally. And at that moment, I felt like, well, he just didn't want to support me. Because sometimes you create things in your own mind, and it sometimes has nothing to do with the other person.
Right.
And so I own that, and I understand that today. And so I felt the way about it. I shot you a text message right away, and you said it was Christmas Day.
Look, somebody said he bought the book. He should buy 5 now.
You know,
the man.
you know, they my ride or die. They my ride or die.
This ain't about 5.
Right. So I felt some kind of way, and so I shot you a text message. We do know that it was on. Can you pull up the text message? He still has the text messages. And so I sent him a text message on December Christmas Day.
No, it was Christmas Day because yeah.
I was blown away that
Okay.
he still had this. That he still had this.
Of course,
text message.
but the funny thing is it was the day after Christmas. Right,
It was the day after Christmas.
Right.
And so, did you want me to read it, or did you want to read it?
Do you want to do this? Okay. So 2012.
Wait.
Okay.
Let's go back to June 29, 2012.
2012.
I sent him a note telling him, we're going to go back to May 29, 2012. I sent him a note saying, guess what? Words Never Spoken is available for purchase. And I sent him a link, and I said, enjoy.
Right.
Then a month later, exactly to the day, June 29th, I sent him another message saying it's available on iPad, iBooks, and Amazon.
Yeah.
Then, after he promoted Old Boy's message on Instagram, I sent him a message on December 26th, 2 years later, 2014.
Christmas, yeah.
And I said, I'm seeing all these endorsements on your... Oh, I'm so nasty. I'm seeing all these endorsements on your IG for calendars and folks' books, and I haven't even gotten a single shout out about my memoir. What's up with that? And then I put the little emoji where you put your little side eye.
Yes.
And so then he responded.
And I'm in my feelings and defensive because I'm like, okay.
Rightfully so.
Okay, so I'm like, that cat. I was like,
Right. So he ready to lash back. So go ahead. What did you say?
so I said probably because they sent me the product and they actually asked me nicely.
And then he put another emoji with a side eye.
Uh-huh.
So then I text back, because I got to have the last word.
Right.
And I said, boy, stop. I didn't ask you nicely when I saw you at Einstein's. Okay.
And I'm laughing.
And then he
I
says-
said, "Are you serious right now?"
And then I said, absolutely. But it's your social media to use how you choose. Duly noted. Let me tell you what that duly noted means. Because I'm so nasty. That duly noted means, oh, I'm going to remember this.
Yes.
So then you said,
I said exactly. And we hadn't spoken since then.
we have not spoken since December 26, 2014.
2014.
Because listen,
Yeah.
one of my character flaws. I'm very clear about my character flaws.
Right.
And I'm very open about it. And that's what we were just saying a moment
Yeah.
ago. When you really stand in your truth, the world opens up to you. Whatever it is,
Yeah.
when you can really own who you are, it's not just about sexuality.
Yeah.
When you can really own your flaws as well, that's when the world opens up
That's
to you.
true.
And so I own that, because one of the best parts of life is when you can admit the truth to yourself about yourself. And I know that I can be very unforgiving.
Wait, you owned it after I had to reach out back?
Correct, you did. Correct. So come on, tell them the message. So 2 years. That was 2014.
Yeah.
So 2014.
I done got into somebody else's message now. Okay, wait, let me find it.
Right here.
Okay.
So 2014 was the last time we
was
spoke.
the last time we spoke.
And it was a nasty text message thread.
Yeah. I mean, it was at the point where that was back
Down
when
here.
it wasn't even, it was green bubbles.
Right.
Okay.
So then October. So wait, before we go there.
Okay.
So back in July, I was meeting a friend of mine for dinner.
Oh yeah, and I just got back.
He had just come back to
Yeah,
Atlanta
yeah.
because he took a position here in
Yeah,
Atlanta.
Yeah.
And so I was.
As the new director of fashion for all the art institutes of Atlanta. What's
Yes.
up, AI? Okay.
So I'm minding my business.
Yes.
At dinner with my homegirl Tanika
Right.
from Coca-Cola. And she was late. I was there before her. So I was
Yeah.
sitting at the table by myself and I was waiting for her to come. And I spotted you.
I was like all happy to see you at a point. That was great.
and I
didn't
gave
think
him
about anything.
And I gave him this look like, don't you come over here.
I was like, hey, you like.
He went to wave and he went to come towards me and I gave him that. I see you, but don't come over here.
I was like,
And
ooh.
because again, my feelings were hurt.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I think it's important to be able to own that and say that.
Right.
And so he stopped in his tracks and he kept going, right?
Right.
So that was July.
Right.
And then the next time I saw you, was it at the Gentleman's Ball?
Gentleman's Ball, yeah.
Was the Gentleman's Ball, and I did the voiceover stuff for like the awards and
Right.
all of that kind of stuff. And I don't remember seeing you until I was actually in the booth for
Right.
that stuff, and I saw you, but you weren't looking at me. But you said you saw me going towards the bathroom.
There were like security guards, all these girls and security
I didn't
guards.
have any security with me. And so he said he saw me walk into the restroom. We did not speak that
Yeah.
day. We did not speak that day. Because like I said, when I did notice him,
Yeah.
we didn't make eye contact. I would have spoken. I would, like I did at the I spoke at the restaurant.
Right,
I did
right.
speak at the restaurant.
You're like, well, right past.
But
my
I
life.
wasn't, at the restaurant in July, I wasn't ready for a conversation.
Okay.
And I think timing is everything. So, Sunday, October 7th,
Yes.
you sent me a text.
I said, hey, you, I think we need to talk soon. And then here you go.
And then I said, hey there, sure, what about? Knowing damn well
I was like, what?
I'm a motherfucker.
Yeah.
So then you said,
I said, I'm here now, meaning that I'm back in Atlanta. No
Mm-hmm.
need for us not to speak. Not sure how all this happened.
and then I said, we can, meaning we can speak. And then I said, I have a pretty good idea where it went left.
Yeah. And I was like, yeah.
And
And so
then-
then we just set up drinks.
And then you
yeah.
so then we made plans to go to dinner. So we
Yeah.
went to dinner.
Yeah.
And what I will say is, because even after this, that was on a Sunday.
Uh-huh.
And then you suggested drinks and stuff
So I
for that
pushed it
Wednesday.
forward. Right.
And so then on Tuesday, you hit me.
Yeah.
And said, well, we still on for tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I really appreciated your effort. Like I could see that you were really making a concerted effort.
Right.
Because I was kind of feeling like, well, if he don't hit me up, I ain't hitting him up. You know,
okay. Right. No,
kinda.
yeah,
I was like,
understand
I was like, I'm really gonna see if he really is serious.
Yeah.
And so when you hit me on, because I was gonna hit you. I was gonna hit you Wednesday though. I
Right.
wasn't gonna hit you Tuesday. And when you hit me on Tuesday, I said, oh. He's serious.
Yeah.
I said, okay. And so then at that moment, in all honesty, I knew I had to let it go. And I said to myself, you know what? He's really making the effort. So let it go, Craig. And now you need to show him that you're making the effort. And so then I got to the restaurant a couple minutes before you, and I sent you a text. I said, hey, I'm here. That was me trying to put a little effort
Well,
forward.
first of all, I knew it was something because I'm here in Atlanta. So it's a new. So we went to a restaurant called 6 Feet Under.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh gosh. I was like, is this a message? You know,
Because
Kinda
the restoration
bury
was
me.
dead.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna bury you.
Yeah, I was like, oh gosh.
No. I was really trying to think of no, that wasn't why.
You're like, here, 6 feet under. I was like, what is this? A restaurant called 6 Feet Under? Is he trying to send me
But
a
I
message
thought we had
already?
been to 6 feet under before, though.
No, because I had never seen this before. I never seen the 6 Feet
Really?
Under. Yeah. I know why it's called 6 Feet Under now, but when I got it, I was like, what is?
No, I wasn't trying to send a subliminal message. So we get to the restaurant,
Right.
and he come in. I stand up. We hug.
Yeah.
We start talking, and then we ordered. We ordered,
Yeah.
and then we jump right into the conversation. And
Yeah.
the reason that I wanted to do this podcast is because I want people to know that sometimes you really do hold on to things that really could be simple.
There is a message, yeah.
That really could be simple, and we could really kind of clear the air
Yeah.
if you just kind of let your pride go. Like, you could be upset with somebody in your family right now.
Yes.
Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, I have
Yeah.
family members right now that aren't even talking to each other.
Yeah,
for
and they
a
don't
reason.
even know why.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I thought it was important. So I wanted us to sit down because, again, I wanted to applaud you for being the bigger
Oh,
person.
well, thank you.
Yes, for being the bigger person and reaching out. And it let me know that you did value our friendship the way that I did. And moreover, I want it to be a demonstration for other black gay people.
Yes.
In particular, black gay men.
Yeah, that's
because
good.
sometimes we spite each other. And I personally believe, and I've said this so many times, and it's definitely in the first book, because when I talk about leaving Atlanta, one of the reasons that I felt a way about Atlanta when I moved away in 2011 was because I felt like we as a black gay community should be so much further ahead. Because we have so much discretionary income.
Right.
We typically make more money than our straight black male counterparts.
Yes.
And in many cases, we often don't have children to spend. So we have this extra money. And there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to galvanize and be able to move our community forward. And not to say that we aren't doing things, but one day my mother let me have it. This was years ago. She said, I don't know what the black gay community doing. She said, because y'all just ain't doing enough. You know, but
that's true.
she was just saying stuff that I had already said. And I just feel like as black people and as black gay people, we could really be further ahead if we allow ourselves to really support each other.
Yeah.
And that's why I go out of my way to try to support black businesses as often as I can.
No, it's good.
You know what I mean? So we're here. And so we got to this point and we hashed it out at the dinner table that day.
Yeah.
And we made the decision to really be better at communicating and saying what we feel and just, restoring and rebuilding the friendship.
Yeah.
Doing our respective parts to maintain the friendship. But, I mean, I know I shared my part, so give them your perspective because I just kind of told them how I felt.
No, I think it was that I knew there was something that was bothering me, but I just couldn't wrap my hand around it. And like I said, because it wasn't that it wasn't important what you were going through, because a lot of my stuff was in defense. But after so many years had passed, I'm just a person of like, relationships are important. Like, I don't think anybody gets anywhere alone. Whether
don't.
you're married, whether you have friends, or your best friends, that kind of thing. There's so many people that are out there that just like, I can do it on my own. I've never been able to do anything on my own. And the other thing that bothers me is that, I'm big on energies. And I think that if I'm around with someone with good energy, or if I have a past with somebody that has good energy, I don't want that to ever dissipate. So I'm constantly trying to figure out ways, and I think I don't know if it's a gift or a curse, but my husband would tell me different. He's always want to have to pull me off the rafters because I'm like, I just like reciprocation, and when I get that, it's hard for me to let that go, even if it's friendship for 10, and that's my flaw. 10, 20 years, I'm like, gosh, like, why are we not friends? And I'll go through that. And I'm learning still. There's a lot of things I have to learn, but I think the most important lesson about this is to let go of grudges, because life is too short.
It is.
And that there are power in numbers.
And just because you didn't support me in the way that I thought or wanted you to, didn't mean that you didn't support me. Because I think sometimes, too, we think that because a person doesn't think of a thing in the way that we do, like, that didn't even cross your mind to like, let me put him on my Instagram. You know what I'm saying? But today, I wouldn't even think to send a message like that, because I wouldn't even think to try to tell you or anybody else how to use their social media. Like, you get to do what you want with your social media.
Well, let me do this right now. Do you have the 2 books here with you?
I have 3 books now,
okay.
Octavius.
Well, give me all 3, and I'm going to buy it right now.
Oh.
Yeah, yes. Because everybody's like, put that cash in. Like,
Because you know they wearing you out.
Oh,
Did you want some
God.
more red wine?
Yes, I want red wine and I want all 3 of these books. let's settle this right now. And I'm going to read all 3.
You gonna read all 3?
Read all 3.
Now,
Put them on the table and let's advertise it, and then I'm gonna sell it. We're gonna sell it right now. I'm gonna put it on my Instagram story. Give me all 3. Give me all.
You know they
3.
were not gonna let you go until you
Oh
said.
Lord, let me get these books.
Now this first book is 337 pages, Octavius.
I didn't even say $337. I was like, ooh. All right, I'm getting
That's
this
a high
one,
book.
everybody.
And you get
All
your
right.
bookmark with it.
Getting my bookmark. All right.
And then this is the second one.
All right. I'm
That's
getting the
bookmark.
second
And
one.
this is the third one.
And I'm getting the third one.
Yes.
Yes. So see there,
I need to sign them,
see there. Yeah, you gotta sign them.
I'm glad
Yes.
that we were able to clear the air. I hope this podcast helps somebody.
Yes.
I really do. I hope that it will challenge you to be less egoic. You know, because sometimes some people just fall out with everybody.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
I know some of those people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cause I don't fell out with them.
I mean, I know people that stop talking to me, and I have no clue why. But so in those instances, I just let them just not talk. But
Right. That's right. Sign them.
yes, did he send my money to the Cash App?
Give it. What is the total? Give me the total.
Oh, 54. They're 18 each.
Oh, that's it.
Oh, but you know what I just thought about?
What?
You had a couple petty moments too. Now, you're
What
not
did?
gonna have me sitting here looking like
What?
I'm the only one that was
What?
petty.
What was petty?
Because when we had the dinner at 6 Feet Under, when we
Okay.
had this whole conversation,
Okay.
you told me that a couple of your friends, you heard about my podcast. This is when we weren't talking.
Uh-huh.
And Caleb sent you his podcast. I told you that he was on the podcast.
Okay.
And then who else?
My friend Michael Ray.
Michael Ray, the one who does the man weaves,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
installation.
yeah.
They both sent in the podcast. He's whatever. I ain't listening to that. Whatever. I'm not listening to that.
But what I will say, it was a sign. I'm like, I
It was
believe
a
in
sign,
signs.
yeah.
I was like, I need to get in touch with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why I love the book,
Right.
The Alchemist, because it speaks about
Yeah.
omens.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah.
it gives you indications. It points you in the direction where you should go. And so
Yeah.
you took those.
I always think of Power 3.
Yeah.
There's 2 podcasts, and I saw you. I'm like, okay, I get it. Universe,
Right.
let's do this.
So
yeah.
2 people sent you the podcast, and then we ran into each other. So it was like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, maybe the universe is telling me we need to sit down. So that was really good. So I'm glad that we did. But anyway, this has been so much to say. Thank you for listening to this podcast. Please hit the share button. Please hit the share button and hit the subscribe button. The podcast is free. It's available in Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, YouTube, wherever you listen to a podcast. Be safe. Keep loving yourself.